ever considered how much your daily life depends on oil? It's an intriguing question, isn't it? Oil, the lifeblood of the modern world, fuels our cars, powers our electricity, and even forms the basis for countless products we use every day, from plastics to cosmetics. It's such a pervasive part of our lives that we often take it for granted. But have you ever stopped to ponder its significance? This viscous black liquid, often referred to as black gold, plays a vital role in our global economy. It not only drives industries and powers nations, but it also shapes geopolitical landscapes and influences international relations. It's no wonder that oil commands such a high value and is at the heart of many global conflicts and negotiations. So next time you fill up your car's gas tank or switch on a light, remember the extraordinary resource that makes it all possible. As we delve into the history of oil, you'll see why it's indeed black gold. The story of oil begins thousands of years ago with ancient civilizations. In the cradle of civilization, the Sumerians, they found a tar-like substance seeping from the ground, which we now know as bitumen. This versatile material was used in a multitude of ways, from waterproofing boats to sealing buildings, and even in medicinal remedies. Similarly, the ancient Egyptians also capitalized on this naturally occurring resource. They used bitumen in the mummification process, preserving their revered pharaohs for the afterlife. Clearly, even back then, oil in its crude form was recognized for its wide-ranging usefulness. Moving further east, there's evidence that in China, as early as the 4th century BC, crude oil was actually being extracted from the ground using bamboo drills. This precious resource was used for everything from fueling lamps to heating homes. But the modern oil industry as we know it today began much later. The year 1859 marked a significant turning point in the history of oil. A man named Edwin Drake, armed with sheer determination and a steam engine-powered drill, embarked on a venture that would forever change the world. Nestled in the small town of Titusville, Pennsylvania, Drake drilled the first ever commercial oil well. This was no easy feat. His journey was fraught with challenges and setbacks, but Drake was relentless. His oil well was a gamble that paid off. It began gushing oil, producing at a rate never seen before. This marked the birth of the modern oil industry. Drake's innovation didn't just stop at drilling, he also introduced the use of a pipe to prevent soil contamination, a practice that continues to this day in the industry. As we delve further into the history of oil, remember this moment. This well set the stage for a powerful new player in the oil industry. In the late 19th century, one man's ambition changed the face of the oil industry. That man was John D. Rockefeller, a name synonymous with wealth and power. In 1870, he founded the Standard Oil Company, a venture that would rapidly ascend to the pinnacle of the oil industry. Rockefeller's business acumen and strategic practices, some of which were controversial, allowed Standard Oil to gain a commanding grip on oil refining and distribution in the United States. In less than a decade, the company controlled around 90% of US refineries and pipelines. Rockefeller's empire was not merely a commercial triumph, it was a symbol of the age of industrialization, embodying the fierce and often ruthless competition of the era. Yet as with all empires, challenges were on the horizon. Standard Oil's dominance, however, was soon to be challenged. The dawn of the 20th century brought with it a new era of oil discovery. Nestled in the heart of Texas, the Spindletop oil well blew a geyser of crude oil over 100 feet high, marking the biggest oil discovery of its time. This wasn't just a gusher, it was a signal to the world that Texas was sitting on a gold mine of black gold. Overnight, the Spindletop oil well transformed Texas into a major player in the oil industry, attracting investors and entrepreneurs from across the nation and around the globe. The Texas landscape was soon dotted with thousands of oil derricks, pumping day and night to quench the world's thirst for oil. This Texas oil boom led to unprecedented economic growth and prosperity, not just in Texas, but across the United States. The oil industry was now firmly established as a cornerstone of the American economy. This boom was just the beginning of oil's global influence. As nations clashed in World War I, oil took center stage. No longer just a commodity, it became an indispensable strategic resource, fueling the war machines of the early 20th century. The advent of mechanized warfare meant that armies and navies now relied heavily on oil. Tanks, trucks and aircraft, all powered by oil, became integral components of military strategy. Navies too, recognizing the superiority of oil-powered ships over their coal-burning counterparts, transitioned to oil, further escalating the demand. This surge in demand had a profound impact on the global oil industry. Countries like the United States and the British Empire, with access to vast oil reserves, were able to leverage this resource to their advantage, while others scrambled to secure their own oil supplies. In the aftermath of the war, this strategic importance of oil did not wane. On the contrary, it only grew, shaping the geopolitics of the 20th century and beyond. In the post-war years, oil's strategic importance only grew. As the 20th century progressed, oil took on a new geopolitical dimension. In 1960, the world saw the birth of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, more commonly known as OPEC. This organization was created by 5 oil-rich countries: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. The primary purpose of OPEC was to unify and coordinate petroleum policies among its member countries, ensuring the stabilization of oil markets. OPEC's formation marked a significant shift in the balance of power, as oil-producing countries sought to exert more control over their resources. They aimed to secure fair and stable prices for petroleum producers, an efficient and regular supply of petroleum to consuming nations, and a fair return on capital for those investing in the petroleum industry. However, the 1970s brought unexpected challenges in the form of 2 significant oil shocks. In 1973, the first oil shock occurred when OPEC's Arab members proclaimed an oil embargo against the United States and other nations supporting Israel during the Yom Kippur War. This decision led to a quadrupling of oil prices, causing economic disruptions around the world. Just a few years later, the second oil shock hit when the Iranian Revolution in 1979 led to a drop in oil production, further escalating oil prices. These twin shocks sent ripples throughout the global economy, causing recessions in many Western economies, while also spurring a surge in exploration, innovation, and conservation efforts. These events underscored oil's critical role in the global economy. They highlighted how shifts in oil production and prices could have far-reaching effects, impacting everything from the cost of consumer goods to geopolitical relations. This period solidified oil's status as black gold, a resource so vital that it could shake the world. In the 21st century, the world is grappling with the environmental consequences of our reliance on oil. The emergence of the oil industry has undeniably shaped the course of modern history, driving economic growth and technological innovation. However, it's also presented considerable challenges, particularly in regard to the environment. The burning of fossil fuels, including oil, has been a significant contributor to the greenhouse gas emissions that drive climate change. Incidents like oil spills have caused extensive ecological damage, endangering wildlife and contaminating water sources. Economically, the volatility of oil prices has led to financial instability in countries heavily dependent on oil revenues. In response to these challenges, the past few decades have seen a global shift toward renewable energy sources. This transformation is not just about replacing one energy source with another, it's about changing the way we think about and use energy. Renewable energy sources such as wind, solar, and hydroelectric power offer a cleaner, more sustainable alternative to fossil fuels. These technologies harness natural processes to generate energy, resulting in fewer greenhouse gas emissions and a reduced impact on the environment. Moreover, in contrast to oil, which is concentrated in specific regions, renewable energy resources are widely distributed across the globe. This decentralization of energy production has the potential to bring about economic benefits, reducing dependence on imported fuels and creating jobs in the renewable energy sector. Government policies and technological advancements are also driving this transition. Many countries are implementing measures to promote renewable energy, such as subsidies for solar and wind power installations. Meanwhile, technological improvements are making renewable energy more efficient and cost competitive. However, the shift to renewable energy is not without challenges. Integrating these sources into existing power grids, managing their intermittent nature, and addressing their environmental impacts, such as land use, are all critical issues that need to be addressed. As we look to the future, the story of oil continues to evolve. The shift to renewable energy represents a new chapter in this narrative, one that holds the promise of a more sustainable and resilient energy system. From ancient civilizations to modern geopolitics, oil has shaped our world. It started as a humble resource harnessed by ancient societies for practical and ceremonial uses. Then came the pivotal moment in 1859 when Edwin Drake drilled the first commercial oil well, setting the stage for the modern oil industry. With the rise of the Standard Oil Company and the subsequent Texas oil boom, oil firmly embedded itself in the fabric of our global economy. The world wars underscored its strategic importance, and the formation of OPEC further highlighted its geopolitical significance. As we navigated the oil shocks of the 1970s and embraced technological advancements, oil's environmental impact became increasingly apparent. This awareness has led us to the present day, where we strive for a balance between our energy needs and the health of our planet. So next time you fill up your gas tank or flip on a light switch, remember the incredible journey of this black gold.